Howdy y'all, welcome back to another episode of Season 3 of How Can It Be? With Allie Johnson and...
Kara Johnson.
Welcome. Truly.
I'm feeling like it's been a year since I last was filming, but it was really just last week.
Yeah, I'm feeling like, exhausted today.
Also feeling like I haven't seen you in like a hot second.
Yeah, so don't forget, we did see each other on Thursday. So it has not been too long, however.
True.
It does feel long sometimes.
Yeah. And that gets so hard.
Gets so tricky. Anyways, if you're new here, this podcast is all about glorifying God in the everyday good, the bad, and the in-between. We start out every episode the same way, just by talking about a little way we've seen Christ in our life the last week or so. And Kara gets to start.
All right, guys. So my new little thing in my life is skiing, except for actually snowboarding.
Okay, yep. I was about to be surprised, but yeah.
Yep. But sometimes generalization can just say skiing, but then maybe skiers will get mad at you if you're actually a snowboarder, so...
She's been hitting the slopes.
I've been hitting the slopes.
No worries.
Anyway, got a season pass, dropped a certain amount of money that doesn't really need to be
more
disclosed.
than one should maybe spend, but...
Yeah, but it's okay.
No worries.
Anyway, so went 2 times this past week. On Saturday we went, thought it was going to be like when we went on Wednesday, easy breezy, beautiful. We pulled in, we parked right at the front of the thing, we got out, got onto the lift, no wait, no nothing.
No
Easy.
worries.
Yeah. This time, Saturday, it had just snowed. Different story. Millions of people there. We couldn't even park at the resort, had to park down low, take a bus up. People had been waiting 3 hours, they couldn't get on the bus. A whole thing. We're feeling worried, we tried hitchhiking. Didn't work. We're like, okay, are we even gonna be able to ski today?
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
We have a friend who bought just a day pass. Okay? So she doesn't have the season pass. We have the luxury of being like, well, if we don't go today, we can just go another time. Mm-hmm. She's like, if I don't go today, I'm out $250. So we're like, okay, we'll just drive her up the mountain, drop her off. Because there's no parking up there, but we can drop her off, you know?
Yeah.
We go up to drop her off. Right when we get there, they open up the parking at the resort. Not only that, we're like driving around looking for a parking spot, and there's this like security guard or whatever guy in the parking lot that literally moves 2 cones out of the way and like ushers us in and parks us there and then puts the cones back. Like opened a parking spot for us.
What the heck?
And we were like, here's the thing, guys. We said 2 prayers. One when we were hitchhiking, that one of my friends said, and then one right when we were pulling in, that we could get a parking spot. And we were like, sometimes it feels silly to pray in those kind of things where it's like, no, like, it's fine, like, it's either gonna happen or it's not, but, like, we don't really need to, like, pray about this. But also, it's like, and I loved that in the prayers, they were also like, if we're not meant to ski today, then, like, that's okay, and just, like, let us, like, know that soon so we can just get off the mountain and be done. But also, like, if we are, and we can get some help to get a parking spot, that would be lit.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it was just, like, really cool that Dominic, I think his name was, but maybe that's not his name. But Dominic, if it's you, then it's you. Anyway, and thanks. Open up that spot for him. We rolled down the windows. We gave him a fist bump. We gave him hearts. We said, "You're an angel. Thanks for helping us out." And then we got on the slopes for a little.
Good.
And it was a great day.
Good.
So, moral of the story: pray, even if you think it might be silly. And also, sometimes opportunities are just open for you. Yeah. Like a little spot being opened for us. Yeah. And it was so sweet. Anyway, it was just really fun because it'd been like a long, stressful day. Yeah. But we were still able to ski for a little.
Yeah. And that's just really fun.
And it was really fun.
Yeah. I wish that I was a billionaire so I could be a skier.
Oh, wouldn't that be so sweet if we were all billionaires?
I was thinking that exact same thing.
Yeah. Hey, but you're so rich in heart, of soul, of mind, of spirit.
That's just the only thing.
Oh, and look at your little smile. You're so cute.
All right, guys, let me tell you what my Jesus moment is. It's just this quote from Pinterest. No problem. Pretty boring from me to not have like any actual experiences. So sorry about that. This is an experience. Buckle up. Okay, it just says this. Constantly learning that if I don't fill my mind with prayer, I feel. Oh.
Mhm.
Constantly learning that if I don't fill my mind with prayer, I fill it with anxiety, worry, temptations, and resentment.
Yeah.
And I feel like that low-key goes exactly along with the story that you were just telling. Like, how many times am I feeling anxious or worried or wanting to resent somebody or feeling tempted about something? And so it doesn't even cross my mind to say a prayer. But the reality of it is, I think that, like, how freeing is that? Like, how, like, what a weight off your shoulders is that if you do feel like you're anxious and you're worried and there's all these things, or you're angry at somebody, or you feel tempted to go fall back into your old ways, or whatever it might be, that if you fill your mind with prayer and you're constantly taking these matters up with the Lord, that He will remove those things from your life.
Yeah.
He'll remove worry, he'll remove the situation that's giving you the worry.
Yeah.
If you're praying about it, then He will take care of it, which is super sweet and super kind of Him, actually. So that's super nice. But I think there's just like so many big decisions that people have to make all the time, and so many times where like we want what we want and that's it. And I think that this is just like a good reminder that like God is wanting right alongside of us.
Yeah.
And He also has given us the ability to choose, but He will help us and help relieve some of the worry and the stress of making these decisions if we just clue Him in on them. So I think that that is like comforting for me, at least. Like, I feel like there's always some big decision I'm having to make in my life, and it's really comforting to remember that like it doesn't all have to fall on my shoulders, like if I clue God into it.
Yeah. Bear with me on this connection I'm about to make,
All
because
right, fine.
sometimes my brain goes like this.
Yeah.
But then who knows if it's actually going to work out.
So true.
Anyway, this is what I was thinking of. Guys, I'm gluten intolerant. I don't know that we've mentioned that on here before.
Yep.
We have.
We have.
Okay. We have, for sure. I'm remembering right now. Anyway. Sometimes my stomach hurts really bad. Things go bad. I'm screwed. Okay? This happened when I was home over break. One of our family friends brought me these magnesium pills. Game changer. Here's what I'm thinking about this, okay? You ready?
Give it to us.
Okay. Sometimes, like, the root problem is still I can't eat gluten. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And my gut has problems. If I'm taking this magnesium pill, it might, like, help and, like,
Ease the pain
ease
a
the
little
pain,
bit.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, cure, like, the problem in that moment.
Yeah.
But, like, at the end of the day, like, I still can't eat gluten.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, I just still need to work on strengthening my gut and making it so that, like, it can digest its food. Which is so tricky.
It's so much work,
But
seriously.
thinking along the lines of, like, what you were saying about how if we add prayer into the situation,
Mhm.
then it can, like, ease the worry and the doubt and all those things that are happening. And, like, those things are still, like, we still have stressful lives. Like, those things
Yeah.
are still going to be happening in our lives. And we can still work on, like, okay, maybe I can readjust my schedule so I have less stress. Or, like,
Mhm.
maybe I can do this or do that or change some things. But also we can add prayer into our life, and without changing those things, it can still ease those pains and worries.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I really love it. So prayer's kind of like a magnesium pill. It's kind
So,
of cool.
you can
The
think
cool
of it that
thing
way if
about
you
that
want.
too is like prayer is beneficial to you if you are stressed out, worried, and in the trenches. And it's also beneficial to you when everything in your life is rainbows and unicorns. Like,
Yeah.
the thing about a magnesium pill too is it's like it's either going to help your belly not ache and hurt so bad and help you not look pregnant, or it's just going to help you sleep good in the night.
Depends on the magnesium, because there's like 7 different kinds.
Right.
4, 5, 3, who knows? But depending on the kind of magnesium,
Yeah.
it has different effects.
Yeah.
Some are for digestion, some are
And
from sleep
also,
things, some are
maybe
from-
there's going to be some times where you take the magnesium pill and you don't super notice a difference because you're not super feeling
Yeah.
sick that day. But over time, you practicing taking the magnesium pill helps your body and helps strengthen your body daily. even on the days that you don't recognize the impact or difference that it's making as much.
Yeah.
I think that's the same as prayer. There's going to be some times where we're like, hey, me again, not much going on, but thanks,
Yeah.
And then there's going to be other times where we're like, hey, so do you have 7 hours?
Because I'm going to be needing it.
Because I'll be needing to pray to you for about the next 7 consecutive hours.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, it's there for the sick and the healthy, for the sinner and the saint, for everybody. So that's what's lucky.
That is, like, really lucky.
Yeah.
And sweet.
Okay, guys, here's our little story of the week. One of my friends posted this on her story the other day, maybe yesterday. And it was her dad sent this in their group chat, and it's called Dad Loves His Girls, is their group chat.
That's adorable.
And I was like, wow, I used to have one of those. No worries. Anyways, not the time. Seriously, literally not the time. Not any problem at all. Okay, anyways. But he sent this parable that somebody shared with him, and I've actually, like, briefly heard of it before, but this is the first time I've seen it, like, typed out. So, I don't know who came up with it.
Someone cool,
Somebody
probably.
good.
Yeah.
Okay? But now it's in Dad Loves His Girls group chat with my friend, okay?
Yep.
But it goes like this. A parable is told of a farmer who owned an old mule. The mule fell into the farmer's well. The farmer heard the mule braying, or whatever mules do when they fall into wells. And after carefully assessing the situation, the farmer sympathized with the mule, but decided that neither the mule nor the well was worth the trouble of saving. Instead, he called his neighbors together and told them what had happened and enlisted them to help haul dirt to bury the old mule in the well and put him out of his misery. First of all, that's ruthless.
That is
Anyways,
super ruthless.
Initially, the old mule was hysterical, but as the farmer and his neighbors continued shoveling and the dirt hit his back, a thought struck him. It suddenly dawned on him that every time a shovel load of dirt landed on his back, he should shake it off and step up. This he did blow after blow. Shake it off and step up. Shake it off and step up. Shake it off and step up. He repeated to encourage himself, no matter how painful the blows or distressing the situation seemed. The old mule thought panic and just kept right on shaking it off and stepping up. You're right. It wasn't long before the old mule, battered and exhausted, stepped triumphantly over the wall of that well. What seemed like it would bury him actually blessed him, all because of the manner in which he handled his adversity. That's life. If we face our problems and respond to them positively and refuse to give in to panic, bitterness, or self-pity, the adversities that come along to bury us usually have within them the potential to benefit and bless us.
Wow.
So sweet. I just love that too, because what's the key factor here? Choice.
Yeah.
Accountability, free agency. Like, it was 100% up to this mule.
He was old.
What was
He
going
could
to
have
end
been
up
like,
happening to him.
okay, like, this is super unfortunate circumstances, but, like, it's my time.
Mm-hmm.
My time to go.
Yeah.
Or he could be like, I can at least try
Yeah.
to get up and over this.
Yeah.
And make it through this.
Yeah.
And I feel like lots of times when we look and try to figure out a solution, we can be led to find one.
Mm-hmm.
For most of life's trials and struggles. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Obviously, there's things where it's like an illness that's like you just can't overcome. And
Yeah.
so it's like not always, but lots of times the things that we're going through, like there's a solution somewhere if we just like are willing to put forth the effort and make the choice and do the hard work, then we can shake it off and step up and move through it.
Yeah. And I think it's so hard to do. Like,
no, for sure.
Like it says like at first the mule was hysterical. And I'm like, yeah, how many times am I faced with something difficult and all I do is just cry?
Yeah.
and like just complain and feel like I cannot believe I'm being buried alive right now. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I do think it is so promising too to remember that like there is purpose and potential within every ounce of pain that we experience in life.
Yeah.
Whether or not like that's like how it was first delivered to us, that is what can be made out of the tricky things that we experience. And it just makes me think of Romans 8:28. And it says in that verse, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and who have been called according to his purpose. And I just think too, like, how important is that to remember in the middle of our struggles and our trials and the things that we feel like are burying us, that there's a God who loves us and who provides purpose and saving and who works incredibly and works truly just for the good of all of those who love him. And so if we love him, then I think that's the key factor. Like, love is what switches the pain into purpose and what helps the journey keep on keeping on.
Love is what switches the pain into purpose. That was a bar.
Thank you. Make that a bumper sticker.
We should. Probably. Okay, listen to this scripture. Ready? Isaiah 40:31. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. That's beautiful. First of all, I'm just like, if we think about the mule and the way that he was able to rise above his struggles or whatever, it's almost like, I love that it says, they shall mount up with wings as eagles.
Yeah.
It's like it gives, being able to like rely on the Lord and receive strength through him is like something that's so empowering, can give us wings. You know what I mean? So empowering can give us, so empowering it can give us wings. Anyway, that it's literally like we can feel that relief and we can be able to soar above the things that are going on in our lives.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I like that it says also, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. And I think it's interesting thinking about waiting upon the Lord, because it's not just like a passive waiting upon the Lord.
Right.
We have to be like active and working. Like he was, if he would just sat there and was like, all right, Lord, save me, and he just like sat at the bottom of the well, he would have died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, there's a difference between just waiting and sitting there and waiting and being like, okay, I'm waiting for the Lord to help me out of this, but what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And like, we could say the Lord helped him to be able to realize that he could rise above that.
Yeah.
And gave him the strength to be able to do so. Because
Yeah.
that was hard work that he had to do, you know what I mean? And so I think if we just think about it differently, where it's like, we do have to wait upon the Lord and his timing and his will for the things that are going on in our lives, but we can do so in an active way where we are putting forth the effort, and then we can receive that strength through him to be able to soar, to be able to have those wings, to be able to walk and not be weary and not faint.
Yeah. I just think too, like, what I kept thinking over and over again as you were saying that is like, I think so much of like waiting on the Lord is also watching. Like, what happens if we're like, okay, like, can you help me with this? And then we're like, close the door on him. And then he's like, oh, well, I just brought all these solutions, but you just closed the door on my face.
Yeah.
So I can't really, there's nothing that I can do. Like, I think it just makes me think too about that one story of the guy that's drowning in the ocean. We've literally said it in this podcast before, but there's a guy that's drowning in the ocean and he prays to the Lord to save him, and then a big boat drives up to him
with like a float and is like,
yeah,
take the float, and he's like, no, I'm waiting on the Lord to save me.
Yeah. And then the guys are like, okay, suit yourself. Bye, brother. Then he continues to drown. The next boat comes. Hey, let us save you. He's like, no, actually, the Lord is going to save me. Thanks, though. And then that boat leaves. One last boat comes and is like, we have a life raft. You're about to die. Please, like, let us help you. He's like, the Lord's actually going to save me, but thank you so much for your time and your efforts. Boat leaves. Guy dies. then he gets to heaven and it's like, why didn't you save me? And God's like, I sent you 3 boats. I think that that's so key in this situation. Like, maybe to him, he was feeling so frustrated at every boat that came up to him because it created thicker waves for him to have to swim in while he waited for God to save him, you know?
Yeah.
But also, like, this mule, like, maybe every single thing that was hitting his back, he's feeling like, oh my gosh, like, God's trying to bury me right now. Like, this is ridiculous. It takes that shift in mindset, and it's up to us whether we get buried alive or whether we drown, like, or whether we accept what life is giving us and accept the feedback that comes when we wait on the Lord, but also as we watch.
Yeah.
In the waiting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Got to recognize the efforts.
Yeah. And I think too, like, that just makes me think of like how much we're instructed in this life to like hear him.
Yeah.
And what that looks like. Like, I think we're all so busy and it gets so tricky, especially like in the new year. We have all these resolutions. Like, we want to become like the best that we can. And like, we want the 6-pack, we want the new car, we want to get a job that has a great 401k, like all of these incredible things that could benefit our lives so much. But at the end of the day, what are we without God? And if you feel like you can live without him right now, that might be a good sign to reconsider where your relationship is at with God. Because at the end of the day, the minute that you start losing those things that you gave your whole life for, you recognize that all that was really steady for you the entirety of your life was God. And so it just makes more sense to enrich that, focus on that.
Yeah.
And then let everything else follow. So like, I think sometimes as we try to hear him, we have to give ourselves space to be quiet first.
Yeah.
And give him the time to speak to us.
Yeah.
So.
True.
Yeah.
So let's hear him.
Yeah, let's hear him. And then I just want to share this one last scripture. It's found in James 1, and it's verses 2-4, but it says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. I think we can all experience that and experience the joy, the pure joy of facing trials and recognizing that the things that we think might bury us oftentimes are laced in the things that can build us up and bless our lives the very most. Yeah. So
lots of times that trial of faith is what at the end of the day strengthens our faith the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's get strong.
Let's get a little stronger. Remember, as you're like prioritizing going to the gym and all that stuff in your new year, that you also need to exercise your relationship with God and make sure that that is strong and steady as you enter into the new year.
So true. We got this. We love you.
He loves you more.
Bye.
See ya.